Sir Ian McKellen was taken to hospital after falling off a West End stage.
Earlier in June this year, the media was caught in a frenzy with shocking news detailing an event that involved actor Ian McKellen. For a moment, everyone was concerned about what had happened to the actor after the unfortunate accident that he had on stage during one of his shows. Later on, in interviews, the actors shared more horrid details about that moment and the thoughts that were going through his head at that moment. So, what exactly happened to Sir Ian McKellen and where is he now? Join us as we give you the details of this unfortunate event. But first, let's get to know Sir Ian McKellen a little better. Ian McKellen is celebrated for his commanding performances on both the stage, screen, and on television. His life's journey started with an interest in the ways that stories are told, and this was how he came into a dedication to the craft of acting. He was born on May 25, 1939, in Burnley, Lancashire, England. As a child, McKellen was steeped deep in British tradition and wartime conditions, which formed his perception of the world, actually creating that spark for the arts. Growing up in Wigan, a town that was still recovering from those economic downturns and challenges of post-war Britain, McKellen learned to appreciate stories and imagination as forms of personal escape and expression. It was against this backdrop that his early interest in acting developed and would lay the foundation for the illustrious career which was to follow. As a young lad, McKellen's family moved to Bolton, where he was enrolled at Bolton School. The change of environment was to become transformative, as the school further encouraged his early interest in drama. However, his first live exposure to theater came at the tender age of 3, when he was taken to view a production of Peter Pan in Manchester. That play left an indelible mark in his young mind, implanting in him a lifelong love for performance. His parents, though not practicing artists themselves, were also managing to instill a growing love of theater in McKellen. His mother Marjorie and his father Dennis were supportive of his interests, although McKellen has frequently spoken of being an introspective child, much more interested in the worlds he created than in the world around him. It was at school that McKellen began to take acting more seriously, appearing in a number of school plays. His teachers did not hesitate to encourage this talented young man by providing him with opportunities not only for further perfecting his skills, but also for helping him gain a scholarship to St. Catherine's College at Cambridge University. There, McKellen was immediately thrust into the Marlowe Society, one of Cambridge's most respected theatrical societies. This led him to work with other up-and-coming actors and playwrights who would go on to become leading lights in the British theatre world. His time at Cambridge was one of growth for him. Not only did he learn acting from a technical standpoint, but he also began to develop his style. In 1961, McKellen left Cambridge to take up his first professional assignment with the Belgrade Theatre in Coventry, where he became a member of the Repertory Company. The early few years of working in repertory theatre were hectic for him. The plays were sometimes booked for 1 week, often involving quick changes between various roles, which demands adaptability and endurance. It was here that he received invaluable training because it allowed him to acquire the versatility, which was later to become the hallmark of his career. It was during his time in this theater that he acquired a deep-seated love of Shakespearean drama, which was to be one of the cornerstones of his work. During the 1960s, McKellen continued to establish himself in British theatre. He then joined the National Theatre Company under the direction of Sir Laurence Olivier, who is probably the most respected figure in British theatre. The chance to work with Olivier challenged McKellen and inspired him because Olivier was committed to his craft. Under Olivier's tutelage, McKellen further refined his skills regarding the art of nuance within the Shakespearean language and the skills required for stage performance. His performances in plays like Richard II and Macbeth won critical acclaim and placed him as one of the fastest-rising stars in theatre. As McKellen's reputation grew, he began his transition from theatre to film and television. His first film came in 1969 with the British movie A Touch of Love, where for the first time, he was allowed to work subtly on screen. Although these early film parts were minor, They gave McKellen a certain amount of experience and exposure that would help him to reach a wider audience. During the 1970s, McKellen balanced an emerging film career with his love of theater, frequently returning to the stage in roles that truly tested him and allowed him to tap aspects of his talent. During the 1980s, McKellen went to heights with highly acclaimed performances in plays like Macbeth and Amadeus. His portrayal of Salieri in Amadeus was critically so well received that many awards were won for that performance, which further cemented his position as one of the great actors of this generation. Indeed, it is that depth to which McKellen can take such characters that adds to the intensity and intelligence we see him infuse in his roles. Soon enough, he was respected and loved both by audiences and critics alike for the vigor he possessed for the craft and the readiness to work on hard and challenging characters. Apart from these two other early roles in McKellen's career that came at the end of the 1990s and early 2000s were his roles in two of today's big franchises, including X-Men and The Lord of the Rings. He was Magneto in X-Men, a character torn between ideal and reality, and was a role very satisfying for him. Indeed, McKellen's version of Magneto in X-Men proved to be a box office hit across the world, lending a totally new dimension to this character and seriousness to this genre of superheroes. Meanwhile, McKellen also played the role of Gandalf in Peter Jackson's version of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. His role as Gandalf revealed wisdom merged with strength and tenderness. For this, the character was praised in an instant and turned iconic in no time. It earned McKellen widespread acclaim and new fan attention. His work on The Lord of the Rings showed not only versatility in acting, but also placed him firmly as one of the most loved figures in popular culture. Success in the trilogy brought McKellen's career to new heights, where he gained a household name and reaped a lot in terms of awards and nominations. Besides his film and theater works, McKellen has been quite vocal in the concerns of LGBTQ+, using his personal life as an openly gay man to further equality and acceptance. His activism began with a public declaration of being gay in the 1980s, thus being among the first few actors to do so in British theatre. It is the sort of thing that serves to inspire people today and has set an indelible mark upon the LGBTQ+ community for its bravery to speak when homosexuality was greatly stigmatized in most parts of society. Whereas actors of McKellen's generation might have rested on their laurels, this great actor has, throughout his career, sought new challenges and taken up new roles that put him in the public eye. His commitment to the craft, a determination to continue playing multidimensional and sometimes quirky characters, and commitment to social change have secured him a place among those few, highly respected names in the entertainment world. From his humble beginning in Lancashire, up to his position as an international icon, Ian McKellen's life has been a true account of passion, hard work, and integrity. His personal life is one of struggles and growth. His struggles, victories, and contributions to the need for social change mark his journey. Unlike the greater part of personalities in the limelight, McKellen managed to stay in close touch with an authentic, down-to-earth approach to his life, and has always been ready to share values, triumphs, and battles, especially regarding his place in the LGBTQ+ community. He came from a very conservative English family and was born at a time when it wasn't generally accepted that it's all right to discuss one's sexuality. Although he had known since his early teens that he was gay, he said nothing out of social stigma and concern about the effect on his acting career. However, he came out publicly in 1988 at the age of 49, and for a reason. He decided to oppose Section 28 of the UK law that barred local authorities from promoting homosexuality. It was something personal and political at the time. He would later describe it as the liberal ability to live more authentically with a purpose in the fight for LGBTQ+ rights. He has since become one of the most recognizable voices for LGBTQ+ visibility and equality, using his platform to speak out against discrimination and towards social progress. Despite all this openness about his sexuality, McKellen's romantic life has been rather discreet. He has had a number of significant relationships but is never married. The first long-term partner was Brian Taylor, a history teacher whom he met in the 1960s. Despite the odds, the two remained together for a few years, although McKellen also said his professional career and general perception of the time did indeed put a strain on them. Their relationship seemed to have ended when McKellen met Sean Matthias, a director, in the late 1970s, and his love life became a lot more unstable for more than a decade. Matthias has spoken candidly of the challenges of their relationship, most significantly, the issue of balancing their personal relationship with their professional lives in the theater world. Eventually, McKellen and Matthias broke up, but remained close friends and collaborators, showing a depth of respect and understanding that has stood the test of time. Throughout his life, McKellen has confronted a number of other personal and professional challenges that have molded him. Coming out as gay, he received some resistance within the acting circles, and he ran the risk of probable typecasting and even career damage at a time when prejudice was strong. Yet McKellen has lived through all these adversities resiliently, by using his experience often to help keep changing things and give more visibility to LGBTQ+ individuals within the entertainment industry and beyond. His bravery has inspired a whole new generation of actors to come into their identity and prove that one can be both authentic and effective. McKellen also struggled with health issues. He had been diagnosed with prostate cancer as early as 2006. Though he did not go publicly with his condition until many years later, he finally informed his fans of the diagnosis, taking it as a move for transparency over his experience. He has since spoken about the need for regular checkups and how important it is to take care of one's health. Thankfully, his cancer has been in remission for some time, during which he was very active. McKellen was open with his diagnosis to show his dedication to helping others be in control of their realities and come to terms with their health conditions as a sign of his empathy, and was a way to give something to people. Besides, McKellen also faces the challenges of aging within a professionally demanding field. There is something rather grueling about stage acting physically, but McKellen has kept at it very well into his 80s. He has often spoken about the physical limitations, including how stamina for some of those roles is just not quite there. He addresses those with great humor and perspective, and often imparts salient insights into aging graciously and keeping positive. In interviews, he mentioned that the secret of long life was to accept and enjoy every stage of life, which has helped him continue with his career. Aside from personal challenges, McKellen has lived through societal and professional changes. Indeed, both worlds of film and theater at the moment differ from when he first began acting, with different audiences, newer technologies, and representation shown in ways no one thought possible. From an actor who received his fame from Shakespearean and classical theater, McKellen had to learn newer ways of telling a story, especially with both blockbuster franchises X-Men and The Lord of the Rings. These roles catapulted him into the international limelight and made him adjust to the special effects, green screen, and a faster-paced style of filmmaking. All that transition from stage to screen had its challenges, but McKellen grasped every avenue for growth, not just as an artist but in the reception of new audiences. Through it all, McKellen commands the highest respect for wit, compassion, and resilience inside and outside of the entertainment world. He is known for his close friendships, most notably among fellow thespians like Patrick Stewart, with whom he has shared screen and stage alike. Indeed, this many-decade-long friendship, which is rare in this time and age, has won much admiration. McKellen named Stewart as one of his closest friends and valued colleagues. Both actors have continued to share common insights and have continued to grow in their careers. McKellen continued giving back, mainly through LGBTQ+ activism and support for young actors. McKellen also co-founded Stonewall UK for LGBTQ+ rights and has participated in Pride and other LGBTQ+ rights campaigns, but his commitment to causes goes way beyond LGBTQ+ rights. He has worked with different charitable organizations and often performs at benefits for various causes like youth arts programs and cancer research. Overall, Ian McKellen's life has been an emblem of courage, grit, and authenticity. From the moment when he chose to come out about his sexuality, in a world where it would have been a huge threat to his profession, to his being accepted into the entertainment world, to personal struggles with health and adapting to the demands of a changing industry, where McKellen has shown dedication to not just his craft, but to values that mean so much to him. His legacy goes way beyond iconic roles into that of a role model in living life with integrity, accepting change, and using one's platform to make a difference in the world. Recently, he made the news after he was involved in an accident while performing on stage in June this year. This sent shockwaves across the industry, as the injury could have been fatal considering his advancement in age. Sir Ian McKellen was thrown off the stage into the audience area of London's Noel Coward Theatre during a live show of Player Kings on June 17, 2024. At 85 years of age, he was fighting on stage as John Falstaff when he missed a step. For a moment, the audience thought that was part of the show until McKellen cried out, indicating that something was wrong with him. He was immediately attended to by the medical staff and taken to the hospital for checkups. The theater further canceled more shows to let McKellen take some rest. He nonetheless came out to thank the NHS staff, assuring fans he would be fully recovered soon. Besides, he said he could not wait to get back on stage very soon, reassuring his commitment to the role despite the accident. Player Kings, based on Henry IV Parts 1 and 2, received attention in part because of McKellen's performance, and audiences want to see him recover as soon as possible. Ian McKellen had some mixed feelings to share following this stage fall. While he needed time to recover physically, he has also hinted at the emotional impact of the event. He said that at that moment the accident happened. He thought he could have sustained such grievous injury that at that moment he was said to have addressed his stage manager saying, "I've broken my neck. I'm dying." Fortunately, his injuries were limited to a fractured wrist and some back pain, partly cushioned by the fat suit he wore for the role. Though proud of how tough he had been, he readily conceded that he had been shaken a bit. The fall appeared to have brought him a touch of disappointment and embarrassment as he joked, "How could it have happened to me?" He added, "There's also an emotional scar I am trying to heal." All these feelings go to show his commitment to his career and the fear of not being able to do all that he used to. The whole unfortunate event notwithstanding, Ian McKellen's latest project, The Critic, has changed the focus from his fall. The movie hit theaters in the UK, Ireland, and the United States on the 13th of September. The story is based on Curtain Call, a novel by Anthony Quinn, as adapted by Patrick Marber, set in 1930s London. Alongside other prominent actors like Gemma Arterton, Mark Strong, and Leslie McKellen plays Jimmy Erskine, a theater critic who is caught in a tale of blackmail, survival, and struggle with ambition. In this short period, the movie has been praised for the dedication and professionalism that went into the making. After McKellen's recent stage accident, his return with The Critic can almost be described as refreshing, a triumph in which his fans get to see him in his element, as he plays a character full of life and presence. Following the accident in June, McKellen was forced to confront the declining part of his existence, which must have contributed greatly to the emotional shock that he felt. Regardless, he seems more committed than ever, and we look forward to other projects he might take up in the near future. That will be it for this video, and we will see you in the next one.